This is World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with your host, Carl Gruber. World Awakenings is a podcast dedicated to opening your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how they play an all-important role in our daily life. So join Carl on this enlightening experience as he interviews metaphysical and spiritual experts to discuss, debate, and delve deeply into the hows and whys of this worldwide awakening.
Hey, this is the podcast World Awakenings, a fast track to enlightenment with episode number 122. I'm your host, Carl Gruber. Now, in this episode, we visit once again for her fourth time on this show with our friend from Oslo, Norway, by way of Sweden, Isabel Stal. Now, she was on episodes number 2, number 12, and number 30, and now episode 122. Isabel is a medicine woman, space holder, spiritual awakening mentor, yogi, musician, singer, artist, all here to support you to achieve your highest expression in this life, to help you find your path and follow it unapologetically. I really like that because that describes you to a T, Isabel. Welcome again to World.
Thank you. Wow, when you're like saying all these things, I'm like, damn, it's become a lot. Like this whole package of everything that I am and that I share. It's like I'm like, yes, I can embody all of that. Because why not?
Well, those of anybody who's new to the show, or even somebody who's followed me for all 122 episodes, Isabel and I met way back in 2015 when we were both newbie law of attraction life coaches, and we were at a seminar in San Diego, California. Isabel came all the way from Norway and had a chance to connect, and we've been friends ever since. And then got to have Isabel on show number 2. It wasn't even a video. I hadn't really connected on how to do that properly. It was an audio only. You can still access that on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Pandora or whatever. But wow, Isabel, you've come a long way from when we first met as Law of Attraction life coaches. Where have you been? What are you doing?
Oh my God. Since 2015 or what? Oh my God. So much has happened. Yeah. What a beautiful journey when you really decide to like step in and dive into like the path that I think our soul like is calling on us to walk, whatever that means for everyone. But it's like, I feel like I've been saying yes to my soul and heart's calling so many times. And that has led me on such a journey around the world, very far out, but also very, very far in.
That is when in the intro, when I said you help people to lead their life unapologetically. And that really is what you've done because, so when we first met, we had been certified as Law of Attraction life coaches. And at some point, you went back to Oslo, even though you're Swedish. You've lived in Oslo for a very long time, and let's go back because your whole metamorphosis of your life started, I believe, right in the beginning of 2020, before the world went nuts. And what was your life back then, back in Oslo, before you headed to Central America for your journey?
Well, yeah, I think to really just recap on shortly, it's like I feel like my spiritual journey or the whole start of my awakening really happened when I was 15 years old, and this really big huge awakening happened to me, and I got so many messages of where I was supposed to go, and it's another story maybe for another time, but it did lead me to Norway as a base. It did lead me to start my business with yoga and coaching that I really wanted to felt like I was supposed to share and be in front of people. And that's what I kept seeing in my visions, even though I had a lot of resistance towards it because I was afraid of being seen, afraid of showing myself, afraid of using my voice. So I think in my 20s, until, before 2020, I had this cycle in Norway where I just built my yoga and coaching business. And then I was feeling that I had built a big part of what I was dreaming about, and I was helping and supporting a lot of people and had a lot of students, maybe 100 students every day that I was just, sharing my life for. But something was calling on me and telling me like, something deep inside was just like, there's something more, like that you're not supposed to stay here. Like you need to let it all go. Um, and I also had a long relationship back then, and you also met him back in 2015. But I just felt like I needed to start everything over and live everything that I knew. So in 2019, before COVID happened, obviously we didn't know that was going to happen, but I knew that I had to go. So I quit, my yoga business, my apartment. I sold and gave away all my things and just, released everything that I had known. And booked a one-way ticket to Guatemala. Actually, I started in Guatemala, and I didn't really know why. I feel like I have traveled a lot like that. It's just been like, I feel like I have to go there. I'm not sure why, but I just have to go. And a new, like, deeper journey of my awakening had started when I said yes to that journey in so many ways. And I met a student the other, like just a month ago, and I was in Guatemala, and like an old student from Norway, and she was like, you left Norway as a yoga teacher and now you're coming back as a medicine woman. And it was like a very beautiful way to see it, because that's been the metamorphosis of finding my medicine and understand that I carry medicine. And when I say that, I mean with frequency and as like my consciousness, and how I am able to help people through raising their frequency, raising their consciousness. And that is the medicine that I carry. And it led me on a deep journey. What can I say?
I kind of like to go back to that time, end of 2019, beginning of 2020, where you found yourself, where I believe millions upon millions upon millions of people in the world are in that place that they feel like something is missing in that life, and there's something calling higher than that. What exactly is that calling? What is it that all these millions of people feel like they're missing? Yet you were not afraid to take, I'm sure it was scary, but you weren't afraid to take that giant step and go into the unknown for a new journey. What do you think that is that's missing in a person's life like that?
I think that we have grown up with so much like restrictions and programming from our societies, and from like, I don't know, I feel like coming back to the city now. I haven't been living in a city for the last 3.5 years. Like I've been living in the jungle or on the mountains, and it's just coming back to the city and being like, I feel like being in a room inside of an apartment that is like stacked on other rooms it's like, I feel like it's just all these little boxes, and I go outside and it's this straight paved roads, and this like everything, all the trees are like perfectly planted in a line. It's like, I feel like just growing up in environments like this and sitting in a school bench, and everyone is like separated, and like all of this is just like, it has disconnected us so deeply to like who we really are and what we really came here for. And I really believe, in my own experience, I can only talk from that like, our souls have reincarnated here with purpose, with a calling, with something that we came here to do, something we came here to grow through, something we came here to experience, really. And if we are walking around with beliefs that we have only picked up from the environment that we grew up in, then of course something's going to feel like it's missing, because it's not us, it's not what we really are. And that's why so many people feel so disconnected. But it is very scary, because we don't see so many, we don't really see where, what can we, what to say, it's like, that's all we see, and then it's almost like that's all we know. But there is so much more to life than what we have been taught, and that's for sure. And that was just something I was feeling so deeply and have always felt in my life. Like,
I think there's some very spiritual ramifications here for all of us, because and you said this right up front that in the world we live in, we're all separate, and we live in these little boxes and everything.
Mm,
This is the way the ego wants it to be, to keep us all separate from each other. When we have, and that thing, to me, the thing that is missing is our true self, that our higher self that is calling to us. Isabel, Carl, there's more to it than this. But again, we're so entrained to march, in rhythm with everybody else, to go to work, 9 to 5 every day and come home. And I guess that's okay for the people that work, but they're probably going to come back in another lifetime and say, wait, I got to work on this a little bit. But you're here in this lifetime, and, having been grown up as a hippie in the United States here, that was a long time ago. But I'd have to say, I mean, the lifestyle you live, you would have been perfect in Berkeley, California, and San Francisco in the '70s. I love it.
take me there. Sounds like fun.
Well, I don't know if Berkeley's what it used to be, but let's go find out more about. You gravitated to Central America, to Guatemala, Costa Rica, Nicaragua. What is it about this area that pulled you there? Is there a spiritual awakening community there, obviously, that you joined?
Yeah, I feel like in a bigger picture, it was like I feel that our souls that wants to awaken, and that as we are on this awakening path, we are being called to these different places in the world, to like there's all different lands and places hold certain frequencies, and there are like these power vortexes that we can visit. And as we do, and we might not understand it on a like a mental level or like a conscious level, but on a deeper level, we go to make downloads for our soul, for our DNA, to help us awaken. And that's what I've been shown again and again, that my travels to India, to like Asia, and then going to the US, going to Mexico, going to Middle and South America, I feel like all these different places that I have visited has been a big part of my awakening on like on a on a on a frequency level.
Hmm.
So yeah, Guatemala was a very important place. And first, when I just came there in 2019, I only stayed for a couple of months, but it really awakened something really deep in me. And they say that Guatemala is when you look at the whole Americas, it's like looking at it as the chakra system. And it's like how Guatemala is like right about there in the middle. They say that it's the throat chakra of the Americas. And then when you go down to Costa Rica, they say it's the heart chakra of the Americas. Yeah, it's very interesting. So something about Guatemala was really about opening my throat and like awakening me to like, whoa, like there's a voice here that wants to be shared. There's a voice that wants to come out. And for a long most part of my previous lifetime, no lifelines in this lifetime, I felt very close in my throat, like feeling like, oh, there's something I want to speak, but I was just like so shy and so like intro, and I couldn't come out. But it was helping me to open my voice, and to open my voice to music and to sing. And how deep healing and transformation opening my singing voice has been.
Well, and I love that you mentioned that, because I do believe that the last time you were on the show, which was about 2 years ago,
Mhm.
it was the very first time I think you ever sang your song in public. "You're Allowed to Shine." I made you,
True. With my little guitar.
but then you pulled out the guitar and you did it, and it's a beautiful song. I love the lyrics.
Thank you. And how amazing that after that, I moved back to Guatemala again. To last year, I was living in Guatemala for a year, and I started to record my music. So now that song is out on Spotify. Like,
Yeah.
hello. That's so, what a journey.
I love it. I love it. So when you got to Guatemala the very first time, What did you find? I mean, you didn't know anybody. How did you find these communities of light workers to join?
Yeah, it's a good question. I saw that there was like a festival, and I've heard about Lake Atitlan before and knew that there was like some communities there. But yeah, like you said, I didn't know anyone there. I didn't know anything. But I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go to this festival and see where it leads me. And a big part of the journey was for me to not be in my mind and to not plan and like not to like, yeah, actually, it was like a deal I had with myself. I'm like, I just book one-way ticket and I only like plan the first 2 weeks, and then I'm not allowed to plan anything. And I have, and my my practice was to trust my intuition and to trust how like the universe was going to show me the way, which is kind of scary in itself. But just going to that festival just led me to some people that was like, oh, go here. And I was like, okay, let's go there. And then I went, it's like, just like all these little pieces of the puzzle that I could not see from where I was starting, but I knew that it would come one way or the other. And it doesn't mean that it was all smooth sailing and easy. It was like, it's been a lot of times during these last few years where I've been just like very confused and very also scared and like going through a lot of my own shadows to return to love again and return to trust many times. But I found this little community. It's called San Marcos. It's a little town by this big lake surrounded by volcanoes, really, and mountains. It's really special place. And yeah, it draws to it a lot of different people, a lot of different people, as you say. And yeah, one thing led to the other.
Well, I would like to encourage all the viewers and listeners that if you want to follow Isabel, go to her Instagram. You have a really, really big following on Instagram, and you're always posting beautiful writings and sayings and pictures, and that is a great place. She has a wonderful website, just isabelstal.com. Stal is STAL.com. And but I want to go back for a second too, because you mentioned this a little bit earlier, these vortexes of energy. Now, I find that interesting that you say that because about a year and a half ago, I went on a spiritual retreat with a small group of people to St. Augustine, Florida. And the lady who held it, Carol Collins, who's known as America's Medium, is a channel for all these beautiful beings, master teachers. And she held it in St. Augustine because that city itself is accordingly in a vortex of powerful energy. So you're
Wow.
saying that Guatemala and other places around the world do have particular strong vortexes of energy that
Yeah,
attract people like us.
yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really, really beautiful. And I think, yeah, there is something about that remembering who we are is about coming back to the land. It's about coming back into nature and like how powerful nature is in itself, how healing it is to just be in nature. But then to go like, yeah, just like different people have different strength and different powers, like it's like you just see when you meet them, there's just like something about that person. It's the same like in on the globe. It's like, or the globe, I don't know if it's round or flat or whatever, it doesn't matter. But it's like it's all these different power spots where also like some places where the energy has been built up for a long time. If there is a place that people have been going and praying for thousands of years, like there's energy built up for healing as well. And to know that there's also the opposite. There's places in the world where like there's a lot of disturbed energy, and like you will go there and you tune into the frequency there and it will make you confused or make you feel down, make you feel sad. And like all, yeah, it's like to be aware of you are absorbing everything around you all the time. So the where you choose to be and who you choose to be around, it will affect how you feel, how you think. And many people, they believe that they think for themselves, they think it's their own thoughts, but most of the time it's like it is all these waves of frequency and that we are receiving, and sometimes we don't really, or oftentimes we don't understand that it's not even our thoughts.
Yeah, that's a good point. And when you and I were going through law of attraction life coaching school, the first
Hmm.
thing we learn is everything is energy. And,
Hmm.
and to this point, all these years later, every day I appreciate that more and more and more. But
Hmm.
well, and just one other thing about vortexes of energy. I know that the pyramids in Egypt are a huge spot of vortex of energy. One of my past guests, Kim Van Descended from the Netherlands, she just led a group of people, and they go there and absorb all the energy in the pyramids there too. I don't know if
Wow.
have you ever been there?
Um, I just went with my family a long time ago, but not with the same consciousness as now. So, but it is starting to call me and has been calling me. But I think also Norway and places in Norway has also very, very strong energies.
Mhm.
And in a few weeks, I'm actually going up to the north of Norway, all the way up to the North Tip, and I'm doing a pilgrimage,
Oh,
walking through, yeah, like walking on a pilgrimage for 1 week to
wow.
visit different sacred sites. And it's kind of, yeah, a similar thing that, whoa, there is some powerful places to make important downloads for to put in the toolbox in a way energetically as the medicine carriers that we are.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm.
Well, I think wherever Isabel goes, there's quite a vortex of energy. So you bring it with you. That's because
That's also true. Yeah.
you're filled with such love. But let's go back in because I know we had both wanted to discuss this about the overall experience, your overall experiences, and how it's helped change you to where you're at in the plant medicines that you've participated in. Can you talk about
Mhm.
that? How you discovered that when you got to Central America and the role it plays?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to really give thanks to the medicine of ayahuasca because she has been such a huge part of my healing journey in so many ways. And I actually met her back in 2011. And when I say met her, I mean uh, went to my first ayahuasca ceremony, and I could say a lot of things about it. But she has been in my life, and this way of working with the plants has helped me so much. But when I started this journey in 2019, it just came back so much stronger. And um and and one of the really big parts of it was that she helped me to open my voice and to like heal the blockages that was hindering me from speaking my truth and singing. I never thought that I could sing. I never thought that I had a voice to sing. And I feel one of the things that these psychedelic medicines, both with mushrooms and ayahuasca and peyote and these different, yeah, they are like plant teachers really, and the spirits of the plants wants to teach us to return to love and to step back into our power. And when it is held in a secure and good intended way, then a lot of healing can happen. And that's why I want like always pay my respect to it, because it's been such a big part of my own healing journey. And some of the ayahuasca is one of my most important teachers in this lifetime so far.
No,
Yeah.
it's interesting. Anybody that may be interested in doing plant medicines but are afraid of them, if you think of it, and you know this well, peyote, ayahuasca, and the other ones have been part of indigenous cultures for thousands of years, and
Yeah.
and many well the shamans, that's how many of them attain their enlightenment is through that. But when you take let's stay with Lady Ayahuasca. What happens when you do take it?
Yeah, it's a good question.
And that comes from me, who's never done it, so I'm pretty curious.
Exactly, of course. Yeah. Well, I sat with her maybe, yeah, around 150 times now. It's definitely over 100 times. I have lost count because it doesn't really matter anymore in that sense. It is my journey, it is my path. And every time is completely different, and that's why it's so hard to speak about it with words, because it is downloading a frequency that is so beyond the words that we have learned. And when we are speaking words, we are also just translating a frequency. And that's why ayahuasca speaks to us much better through music, and why the ceremonies very often is like based on song and based on prayer through song, because it is coming down with another frequency. But what I feel like, I could tell you many stories of what she has showed me, but at the same time, it doesn't really tell you anything about what you would experience. But to just like zoom out, my experience is that she is like a guardian of a portal, of portals of energy, of dimensions that is way beyond this world, but also it is a connection to our soul and to our higher selves and to like the big mystery of this life. And I say that I've been in the universal university, that I wouldn't go to university because I've been in the university, like she has taught me about how the universe works and how I work, and why I have come here, and what blockages I needed to look at, what I needed to heal from my own life, from my family's baggage that I've carried, and from my ancestry, and like how to heal that. And many people are afraid of these psychedelic journeys, and I can completely understand it. It is not to joke around with, and it's not to like not take seriously, because it definitely really is. And yeah, but the ultimate like intention from her teachings is to return to love, is to return to our hearts, is to return to this deep understanding that everything is connected, and that we are connected to everything, and that my healing is your healing, and that when I lift myself up, I can lift other people up. And when like, yeah, that we are here having this human experience together, and we're all just doing our best to try to figure out what this is all about, really. Right? Like, who really knows what this whole experience is about? Anyway, so yeah, I feel like she is like to try to zoom out and not go into small stories. It's like that is the intention of her as a medicine, because they, like the tribes in Peru and in Brazil, where most of this medicine is coming from, kept it a secret. I mean, they didn't want it to come out into the world for thousands of years, because they also knew that a lot of like it can come into the wrong hands. It can like it is a very, very powerful medicine. Um, but the medicine itself has said like, I'm ready to come out into the world because I know that there is a readiness for it.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I believe that because, the dozens and dozens of guests I've had on this show talk about that the Earth is going through an ascension. Human race is going through an ascension to the 5D and the 6D here, and that is why things have become so different in the world than any of us have ever known. But just going back to the effects of plant medicine like ayahuasca, from what I understand, it's almost like when you're in a ceremony doing this plant medicine, that it removes this veil of forgetfulness that the ego has placed and allows us to see the expanse of all that is. And that's got to be an amazing experience the first time you do it. You go, wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, like the way she teaches is very, it is so smart, it is so wise, it is so big. And like, I've had some of the hardest times in my life meeting her, and some of the best times in my life meeting her. And the hard journeys, which is usually what people are afraid of, like, oh, like we hear the psychedelic, like, oh, maybe I have a bad trip. They call it a bad trip, But it's like, well, it is a part. She wants to show you something inside of us, and like to help us become stronger, and like, yeah, and sometimes we have to go through the darkness, and like the only way through is to go through things, and to like really, yeah, like things that I didn't want to look at in myself, she has like really put it in my face, like this thing about your mom, it's like this thing that you're really afraid of, like, look at this, can you see through the illusion of your own fear? And maybe like the fear is coming as a vision, and you just like have to meet it and see through it. And she helps you to like move through things, and has, if you have, and when you have like really good shamans or people holding the space that can really like hold the energy for us, then it is like meant to bring us through these challenging times as well. And yeah, it has been worth every second of these journeys.
All this wisdom you're relaying to us is very much in alignment with my studies of A Course in Miracles and non-dualistic spirituality, that as we give, we receive right back to us, that this world is a projection of all of the things that we've been trained to believe, and also that it's a way, when you go back to your true higher self, it gives you the ability to release all these fears that you've had that are not real. Fear is based on, what's the old acronym for fear? False
Evidence appearing real. Yeah.
I love that. So
yeah, that's a good one.
But again, talking about plant medicines now, you're sitting here, anybody watching this, Isabel is drinking a cup of cacao, which is a form of plant medicine. It doesn't have, I don't think it has any psychedelic repercussions.
Not really.
You're drinking coffee and you're drinking cacao. And I've had a guest on. Let's talk about the benefits of cacao.
Yeah, wow. This cacao that I'm drinking is ceremonial cacao from Guatemala, and that I brought from the jungle there. And yeah, cacao is just such an amazing plant medicine. And I think that, yeah, it is also one of these medicines that has been brought to society and made like very deeply processed and then made into chocolate, and people are buying chocolate. So there's like, oh, what do you mean cacao? What's so special about it? It's just like this bar of chocolate you buy on the store, but it's like, no, it's not at all like that. And how like cacao is like such a beautiful medicine that can help us connect also deeper to like our heart and to our soul's purpose and to medicine, and to understand like the interconnectedness of things without being a psychedelic or anything like that. It's more like very physical, heart warm. But when you drink ceremonial cacao, it is tended to with care. It is made without processes. It is handmade. It dries in the sun. It's like the fruit of the cacao is so like full of so much nutrients, and through the process of like industrialization, like all of these properties go lost, when we like so many things of the food that we're buying in the store today, it has just gone through so much processes that it looks like a banana, but it's like it's nothing inside really. It's like, and that's a lot the same that has happened to the chocolate industry and the cacao industry. But coming back to it as a medicine is like something that they have used in Middle and South America for thousands of years too, as a way of ceremony, as a way of calling in spirits, as a way of creating a community. And it was something that they used as like when there was a dispute, or like they were not people, like they would drink cacao to help like the groups or the clans to like come together and find solutions, because it just like helps the heart to open and helps people to just like understand the deeper knowing of how we're all connected basically. And I use cacao a lot as I just hosted actually a cacao ceremony here in Oslo 2 days ago, and work a lot with the cacao because it's such a beautiful medicine that it's very easy for people to like embrace, because it's not gonna like change your consciousness. It's not scary. It's like, oh, it's cacao, like this is okay. But it still brings us together in such a deep and beautiful way when you use it in a ceremonial way.
Wow, what a beautiful description. I can tell you love that cacao very much. It almost sounds to me, and I believe this is the truth, that cacao or ayahuasca or peyote or whatever, spirit resides in these plants.
I think, yes, definitely. And that it's like there's spirit in everything. There is life in nature. Like the earth is alive, like all the plants has its own consciousness, all the cells in our body has its own consciousness. And it's like that is the part of the shamanic way of looking at things, and the pagan way as well. It's like, yeah, to come back to the aliveness of things, and to understand that everything has consciousness. And from that understanding, it grows just such a much deeper respect from the earth, and to the earth, and like from where we come from, and so that is the disconnection that most of us have growing up in a normal society where everything is paved and in boxes, and it's just like we're disconnected from like life, really.
Wow, you are so wise. You're wise beyond your years. What, you're only like 17 or 18 years old, right? This is great. Thank you so much, Isabel. Cacao, would it be beneficial? I mean, even if I'm just sitting here doing my own meditation, would it be beneficial to drink it just as I'm doing my own meditation? Does it have to be in a ceremonial situation?
No, definitely, like you drinking it by yourself can be a little ceremony in itself. And I think it's like you say, what you do with it that opens the different energies. So if we like drink some cacao like unconsciously and then run out and like do something whatever, like it's not gonna open a very, like it's same in a very deep space. You might still feel the benefits of it, but it's like it is about doing things in a conscious way, and like calling in spirits. And like you say, you can do it by yourself, you can do it in a group, but a ceremonial setting, it's like it's something that you call in anyway into your life. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that explanation. But, I'm also going back to the fact that you and I initially were trained in the law of attraction. The thing that I have found is I've grown spiritually. Everything I learned spiritually about returning home to our true higher self reinforces the understanding of the law of attraction and how it works and how we can use it in a positive manner. I mean, it's still never turned off.
So true. It's
Yeah.
like the basis of all of it, right?
Yeah, it really is. And I wrote a book last year called True Spirituality and the Law of Attraction. And I just finally realized that the law of attraction is love, and love is the driving force in the universe. And there, to me, there's no other way to see it. I mean, it really is the truth.
Yeah, and a beautiful way to see it. And definitely, yes, exactly. It is the frequency of love.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
wow, from that space, how when we return to our hearts and return to that essence of love, then what we want to create is also so differently than it is aligning with our soul's purpose. Because I feel a big part of my journey with law of attraction, since that education that we did together back in 2015, it's also been like, for me, it's not about like, oh, me thinking that I want a red car and then I'm gonna just like focus my mind on it like so much until it comes. Like, no, it's not about that. It's about really like returning to the essence of what I am and who I am, and then trust that the plan of my soul and what it wants to manifest for me, that is what is coming, and to like more surrender and trust more than like trying to focus my mind on different random details. Because I feel like every time I let go, I am being shown that the plan for my life is so much bigger than what I can just try to focus my mind towards, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's no
Yeah.
wonder I've had you on the show 4 times. You just beautiful, loving
It's like, yeah.
wisdom. I do want to go back to this to Isabel's life right now. You split your time between Central America and Scandinavia. Most of the time you're in Central America. Right now you're back in Norway. You've done a couple retreats. What are these retreats all about that you did? And you're going on a pilgrimage too.
Yeah. Well, so I just finished 2 retreats last month, one in England and one in Sweden, actually. And the one in Sweden I'm doing with a friend. We have done for the last 3 summers in a row, when every time I come back in the summers, because summers here is amazing. The winters, you don't want to be around. But they are called Awaken Your Magic.
Mm.
And the other one is called Gathering the Flowers. And what we really work with is everything that we're talking about. We're working with like returning to ourselves, like returning to the different medicines that we have, which is like using our body, using our breath, like remembering. It's about remembering who we are, coming back to nature, working with the elements, working with ceremony, creating ceremonial space and helping people to open their voice. And it's something I work with a lot. And I have 2 more retreats coming up in September here before I go back to Costa Rica. That is about voice activation, and they're called the voice from the heart. And like, yeah, to create a safe container for people to feel safe enough to start exploring their voice and opening their voice and doing different rituals and ceremonial work to connect them to their spirit and to connect them to their voice. Yeah.
That's interesting because, oh gosh, it must be a year and a half ago. I had a vocal transformation coach, Marin Azoff.
Oh,
She goes down to Costa Rica and does that, but she teaches exactly that. She lives most of the time in upstate New York in the States, but she goes down
what's
for
her name?
Marin Azoff.
Oh, I think I met her in Costa Rica actually.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I studied ceremony with her. She works with ceremonies too.
She's an amazing vocalist. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'll send you a link to her song Everyday Grateful. And it's her
Oh,
vocal power is phenomenal. But I find that interesting that you're talking about the power of your voice and that. So there's so many beautiful modalities that we can connect to that most people have no clue on. You talk to them about it and they, oh, that's nice. I got to go to work now, that type of thing. But that's why you and I are here to talk about this. So, at the end of the Scandinavian summer, you're heading back to Costa Rica. Are particular plans or just to go and continue to absorb the beauty of the vortex of the energy there?
it's yeah, I feel that I've been living off my bag. Like it's been me and my bags and my guitar and my drum, like traveling around for the last 3.5 years, living so many places. And I'm really feeling so ready to land and ground myself. And partly when I came back to Norway this time, I'm like, maybe I should stay here for longer, just to ground. But then I'm coming back and I'm like, no, this is not the place I'm supposed to be. I know that I'm supposed to be in Costa Rica. That is the place. So I'm really going back there to focus on building my business more and to like really ground myself in that country. But it's not fully clear yet exactly where. I have some strings, but I really like being up in the mountains. It's some really, really powerful mountains there and amazing communities. So I am going back to explore how this round is gonna be.
One day when I grow up, I'm going to come down and hang out with you down there.
Yeah, please do. Come on.
I'm still
I'm,
on the growing.
yeah, yeah, the dream is definitely to build my own place there. I really feel like I want to create a sanctuary that would be my home, and that would be a place where I can invite people. That's, yeah, a little refugee place for healing, a sanctuary.
Oh, I would
But
love
it's a more long-term dream, but I think it feels that it's coming closer and closer.
one of my past guests, David Vletas, actually has a place like that over on the Pacific coast in
Oh,
Costa
really?
Nosara, I believe. It's called the Costa Rica Institute of Wellness, and he has people come down for week-long transformational things, and then he has an endless pool, and people can just be quiet. And he's got monkeys all flying all around the place,
That's
and then he goes
beautiful.
surfing during the daytime. I'll have to hook you up with him too. So.
Totally, please do. Yeah, I would love to go and see him when I come back there.
Well, once again, we're talking to one of my favorite guests of all time, Isabel Stal, a medicine woman. I love that description. And you can find Isabel on her beautiful website, isabelstal.com. Check that out. And Isabel, don't you have a particular title on Instagram? Is it Isabel
Yeah,
Stal
it's
Life?
it's Exactly. Simple as that. Isabelstal.life, and Isabel with one L and Stal, you got it. And yeah, please come and connect with me there. I really love sharing and connect with people there. And yeah, there's a lot of amazing things coming up. An online container in the autumn that is called Gathering the Flowers, Find Your Medicine, that I do with a friend, and some retreats coming up both in Guatemala and Costa Rica next year, the beginning of next year. And yeah, it would be nice to connect with you guys and for everyone who's listening that resonates with what we're talking about.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at your website. It says Wild and Wise online group mentoring coaching programs, soul coaching, seminars, and you still do plenty of yoga. That's for sure, right?
Definitely, yeah. The yoga practice has changed a lot since I was doing that full time, but it is definitely a part of me and a part of my toolkit of what I bring to people, that's for sure. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Isabel, we are so blessed to have you on World Awakenings again. I'm so grateful to call you my friend, and I hope soon, once again, we get to meet live in concert. It's been a long time.
I really hope so too, Carl. Yeah, I love having you around and just like stay connected with you. Feels always like such a blessing, and just your positive energy and all your support, and it means so much. Yeah. So thank you so much for letting me be on this beautiful show of yours and how it's been developing.
This has been another episode of World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with host Carl Gruber, a certified law of attraction life coach. We welcome you to tune in to each and every episode of World Awakenings as we open your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to the truth of all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how much they play an all-important role in our moment-to-moment daily life. Much love and light to you, my friend, and thank you for tuning into World Awakenings.